Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Hey guys, welcome back to another Disney Sorcerers Arena video. My name is Will DSA, and today we're just going to kind of talk about some community things that I've been noticing, give my opinions, give other thoughts, and just kind of break 4 different subjects down about the game in general. Now, this game is relatively new, but us as players of mobile games can sometimes be very passionate about change and wanting things to go well and, money well spent, and that is fair. But I think sometimes we do certainly lose perspective of what's going into a game. So before we really get into it, this is my general opinion for you.
5 letters here, just for everybody out there in Packerland and yourself today. RELAX. Relax. We're going to be okay. 5.
All right, guys. So now, obviously, this isn't Packerland. I come from Wisconsin, and though I'm not a Packers fan, I think Aaron Rodgers' message in general is a good one. Let's relax. We can have complaints. We can have things we want to change. But we also have to remember that this is a newer game. Still not even half a year in. Comparing it to some other games where there's been issues in communication, they are also developing this game during what is the modern day pandemic of certainly my lifetime, and especially in a country where many of the players live in a more first world country to an extent. We haven't had situations where businesses and whole countries close down. Who knows how many people are at Glue working from home? How many team meetings do they truly get to have? So I think we need to give it time. There are plenty of things going right. There are plenty of things that are still wrong. So let's dive into that right there. So going into it first is bugs. Now, this is a larger complaint by many people, and I can certainly understand it. What I can say is, even just in this last content update, we did get bug fixes. And bug fixes are great. But I think, to the credit of the community, and I wish the developers would look at more, is these aren't all the most major bugs. It's maybe picking and choosing more of the more recent ones, like these ones were Lotso's and Lotso's getting good, not Olaf. But what about some of the older bugs in the game? And guys, I don't have to explain the older bugs to the game for you. I'm not going to go into it. There's just so many of them. You just look at the screen right here. There are just a whole section on the community Discord about bugs. All different things, screenshots, etc. So they're there. And there are some that have been around for a long while that need to be fixed. So I will say that yes, bugs need to be fixed. But also, I don't know how many people have looked at coding and programming games. I certainly don't know a lot about it, but I've looked at it, looked at the program, the process into it, and this isn't just an easy fix. This isn't just 2 seconds and it fixes itself. There's fixing it, there's making sure it runs right, all of that. And as I said before, how many of these people right now are actually in the office? I don't know. Maybe they all are, maybe none of them are. Who knows? So I think we should keep that in mind. A number 2 complaint I see is the statements about the current Frozen team and being oppressive and overpowered. That's correct. I will not disagree that the Frozen team is certainly on a different level. Just the other day in Conquest, I was facing an AI Frozen team that was like 500 points below me, and I could not get through the Kristof wall. Now, my personal opinion on Frozen is not the Frozen team itself. I think a team like this, especially with a legendary character, should be the top team in the meta. It should be something that is hard to beat and synergize as well. But I just think there's one key thing to Frozen that needs to change, and I've mentioned it before, is Kristof just needs to not have harmful immunity. I think if that ability dropped off, you can interact more with the team. Kristof is the main problem on the team. It's not that the whole team is overpowered. Kristof gives them the time to get there. And that's what a great tank does, but having harmful immunity means you can't meaningfully interact with him, especially once he starts getting trolls out and proccing and all of that. But the main complaint I have with the community is the people who say, get your pay-to-play team out of here, essentially. Elsa is the only character in this team that you could consider paywalled or pay to play, and it's not even a paywalled. It's a legendary character that you have to go through stages to get. Now you could make a case that you had to pay to get up there the first time around, but this event will come around again. And Elsa is not the linchpin in this team, in my personal opinion. Every single one of these other characters, free to play. You just got to be patient. So when I hear people say, get your pay-to-play stuff out of here, I want you to get out of here. I can farm all these characters. I bought an initial pack from each to get them going, but everything other than that has been, simple store currency, and they're in the stores, grinding on the game. And I've got probably the two most important characters, Kristof and Anna, at 7. And Sven on his way, and I'll get to Olaf eventually. And if I get Elsa later at date when it comes back around, cool. So guys, Frozen has an element of pay to play to it if you want to get there faster, but it is truly a more free to play team outside of Elsa. And if you want to focus on them and get them, you'll get Elsa easily the next time around. So that is a complaint I think the community is sharing too much. Up next is the gear and the gold crunch, guys. This, I think I agree with the community on. Let's just take a look at some requirements here. So let's look at Kristof for now. Okay. So he's got 6 slots to fill up towards gear 6. I've got 2 of them done. But if you look at the first one, it is quite difficult. Now, as you get into the end game, these what are they called? The threads are much easier to get because you can find them typically in the currency shop. And if you're doing the dailies with your club, you're going to go ahead and get these going decent amount. And if you're focusing on one character at a time, you can build up this resource pretty quickly. That along with the what the heck is this one called? I don't know. This one. They need to name these better. But the big one is, at least going from 5 to 6, and this is first big jump, are these stones, right, or these droplets right here. You need 35 of them. Now, you can farm them from different places. You can buy them, but the amount of time, either 400 or 4,000 club currency for 4 of them, or running energy upon energy to get them. Now, I ran about a 300 energy this morning on some droplets. You took 300 energy plus a couple more refreshes to get to 35. That's altogether, you'd say about maybe $5 in crystals. It's a lot of money, guys. And yes, you can get these eventually, but it's ridiculous. And then not to mention the fact that leveling up characters, if we look at that, we'd want to level up a character. It gets insane. If you look up and level up here, to take Kristof up just 3 levels, it essentially burns out any currency I have. If we wanted to go and say, let's go take a look at a character here. We'll go take a look at a character I haven't really worked on and see what it would take to move them on up to where I'm at now. So as we go down, okay, Sheriff, cool. I wanted to level up Sheriff. Almost a little over 1.5 million gold, which I will put into a perspective here. If you've played Galaxy of Heroes, or other games, eventually in the end game, you get to a point where there are some events and gold events you can do that will stockpile things for you. You can start getting there eventually and moving up because eventually the gold paces with where you are or the currency. This doesn't have it. Now we have Scrooge's Money Bin coming up. If we take a look at that, even if you are at your top reward for Scrooge's Money Bin, it's only 4,400 gold. So, and if it's 4,400 gold, you can get 2 rounds into it, to get up maxed up to 880,000 gold. That's not even enough to get halfway to a fully maxed out character. And this event comes around, I don't even think it's weekly. I think it's almost monthly. I'd have to double check. And then what you have to even get there is you have to have 5 downtown villains at a star level of 7. And recommending gear tier 7. Now the gear tier maybe not, but it's like that crunch for people like even me right now, and I'm a decent player. I can do this one right here. I finally can get, I believe, to the next level when it comes around. If I'm looking, it's 3,200 gold. Then all of that, and then it's 640,000. You can maybe get a refresh in there, do a couple days. Like, it is so paywalled, not paywalled, but time walled and blocked that it's so hard to keep up unless you're spending. And I don't like that about a game, in my personal opinion. And also the gear drops on nodes really need to change as well. It should not take that much energy to farm, in my opinion. The game will be much better if you are at a point where everyone can farm up quickly. You can start testing more teams. You can look into a meta, and taking it from there. So that is my opinion there. There, I agree with the community. The gold and the gear crunch needs to be addressed. So I'm hoping they do that. That one I think is a serious one. And then last up for me is Club Conquest. Now, the theory is pretty good. I enjoy the theory of it. 3-on-3. Right now we're getting beat. There's no way to prevent in a 1v1v1 of 2 teams coming after 1 team. Now, it just is what it is. You deal with it, try and develop a strategy. Strategies are coming out that I'm seeing that are helpful. Here's something I don't like. There are some bugs that really affect the game right now with that, and I know they're probably still working on it, but there are bugs where you'll enter a match, get kicked out of the match, you lose the match, possibly your best team, and it can screw you. That's a big one. But the biggest thing on this is I've never played a game like this, whether it's Strike Force, Swugga. I used to play Contest of Champions. I've never played a game with any sort of mode like this that does not say, even if you lose a battle, that damage stays on them. I think the fact that they do not allow damage to stay on a team you've just fought is incredibly bad. Almost to the point where I'm nervous to play a mode because if something happens or I get a bad RNG, it's not like I can get a bad RNG, take out 1 or 2 characters, and then be like, okay, I have a cleanup squad. It's, you get bad RNG, and all of a sudden it's, you're done. There goes your best team. They get a good team back. So yes, that would be my biggest thought on Club Conquest that needs to change to make it more manageable for everybody. So guys, that is really my list for today. Tell me what you think, what things can be fixed. I really would love to engage the community. Go to the community Discord. But what I really want to say again is the 5-letter word, RELAX. Relax. It's going to get done. For anyone who is saying that the game is dying or they've quit on the game, no, I don't think you're correct. I can share sentiments of your frustration, but I don't think you're correct. So let's all take a breath. Let's give it some more time. If you choose not to spend money, perfectly fine. You need to take a break for a day, perfectly fine. But I just don't think it is dying. I think more is to come, and I think it's going to be okay. So, My name is Will DSA. This has been another rather somber-ish video on Disney Sorcerers Arena, and we'll be back with you soon. Everyone have a wonderful day. Take care.